Hello and welcome back. We're here for another session of Productivity Power Hour, and I'm really excited because today we're going back to Obsidian and just to talk about specifically the boilerplate that I created quite a while ago for people getting started with Obsidian. So part of the inspiration for this session is that I've been asked a number of times about resourcing, and I realized my boilerplate is a little out of date. So especially with live preview and this sort of stuff, I thought it'd be great for us to spend this time to one, sort of take a look at where Obsidian has come so far. And then in the meantime, basically have the chance to relook at what the boilerplate includes. And then I can go ahead and update it. And that way in the future, when anyone wants to reference it, everything is up to date. And hopefully we can get a good cadence on that going forward. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and dive right in, shall we? Gonna switch. Excellent. Okay. All right. So first thing first, I'm going to open GitHub and to show you what I'm talking about. So the Ben's boilerplate Obsidian. Oh, here we go. It was right here. Excellent. So once I hit enter, this will open it in a new tab, which I had over here. So I'm going to move it over, and then let me actually bump this up a little bit so it's a little easier to read. Basically, what this is here is an opinionated boilerplate for those using Obsidian. So this is different from a starter kit in that starter kits, I think when I originally created this resource, that's what I sort of thought of this as, was like, if someone were starting brand new, how would I like incrementally give them like what they needed so that they can eventually like customize the app to what they need. Then what I realized over time is that some people just want to know like exactly what I'm doing, right? They want the exact workflow and they want just like a way to see the example and then basically to trust them to go and figure it out from there. And so it's been a little while and I thought, let's go ahead and just kind of revamp what's in here and see what's going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and clone this. Again, this is for my personal workflow. This has nothing to do with Obsidian, but we're going to go ahead and manage it sort of this way. So I don't think it's in here. So great. Clean that up. So Ben's Obsidian boilerplate, excellent, and I think we're good. So to see how this is working, what we're gonna do then is let's go ahead and open the vault inside. So open another vault, and this time, there it is. Open a folder as a vault. I'm gonna go to projects, Ben's boilerplate, there we go. Okay, so a couple of things have happened, clearly. One, we want to make sure we turn on live preview because this is basically the way forward for Obsidian. So let's make sure that's turned on, turn off safe mode. This is fine. And then we have a bunch of plugins that we're going to need to review as far as that goes. So cool. All right. So we have everything set up. This is good. So this is basically, the goal is that someone will be able to basically download oh, look at that. It's even gone away. See, I have so many things that need to update. This way people can just go ahead and swap it in. Everything works and we'll figure that out. All right, so first things first, actually, what I do want to answer, because following the agenda from the last... Oh, good. Okay, my vault is right here. Let me open this one up, actually, on the other side real quick. Okay. Oh, actually, why did I need to do that? I didn't need to do that at all. Let me bump this up a bit so it's easier for people to read. Excellent. All right. So one of the questions I've received recently actually is around watching a workflow on watching me sort of create notes and have it basically automatically pull from a specific template. And I've talked about this, I think, in past streams, but I wanted to sort of have a dedicated section on a video where people could just go to and learn exactly the ins and outs of my theory behind creating notes with templates. So let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? Let me make sure this is coming through. Okay, this looks good. Okay, perfect. All right, so at a high level, right, what are we talking about? The scenario here is that let's say I'm reading a new book, right? In fact, a friend of mine just recently recommended this book called Mindset. So what if I wanted to create a note on mindset? Well, typically what I would do is I would do mindset, and then I would wrap it in parentheses. And as you can see, there's no book created right now. So if I open that, you'll see though that it doesn't just it doesn't just take a regular note. It goes ahead and actually fills out what is, at least for me at the moment, my book template note. And so the question here is like, how did this happen? Because all I did was have it automatically pull. And there's a couple ways you could basically manifest this within Obsidian. So the first way you can do this is to basically, like, call it the longest path to success is to say, okay, let's just delete this note right now. So let me just delete this file. And once again, let's create a new note called mindset, right? And so when we create this new note called mindset, typically, actually, I'm going to remove the marker right now so that it doesn't automatically create. you'll see that right now it basically just populates a standard note. And then what you would typically do is Command A, and you would like use the command to insert a template, which for me is Command Shift I. And then I'm going to say I'm going to insert my book template. And this is about like a 3-step process. But at some point, we probably want our system to be a little bit smarter. After all, as we start to tailor our workflow to the way our brain works, well, easiest way to do that is to basically create workflows that automate away some of that information. Now, the next step you're probably thinking of, if you're familiar with Templater, is that there's actually a command in here called create new note from template. And so if we hit this, for example, and let's call this a book template, right? Then you can see that all of a sudden it'll go ahead and go in and just create a brand new note automatically. But you notice that experience wasn't that great, because what you have here now is that you created a new note that's automatically labeled and titled. So now if we did like mindset 2 book, you'll see it'll go ahead and update, but at the same time, like this is now sort of 2 different steps, right? You have to like create the new note, which for me is Command Shift N, and then I create the book, and then it always goes to untitled, and I have to go to the point of like filling out what the name of the book is. And part of the reason this is a problem is because what this means is you are creating a note once again in a vacuum. And this is problematic because when you have integrations, particularly for things like books, and you have it pulling in from, let's say, your Kindle, you're using Readwise to fetch things in, you might already have some automation that has already fetched the name of the book already, and they might have already created a note for you. And so, in other words, when you do this, you run the risk of basically collisions on naming, and more importantly, you have silos of information. And so this is why, for me, I recommend basically using what I'm about to show you, which is the templater workflow for creating base notes. And so basically inside of here, if you go inside of the templater plugin right here, you'll notice down here inside of the folder templates, this section right here, this is the magic place, because what it basically says is it allows you to create these really simple workflows of like, if I create a note in this particular folder, then I want you to apply this template. And this is really nice because what this ultimately means is that you now have the ability to like basically automate some of that piece away, especially when you start figuring out how your brain is organized. And so the simplest one that I recommend is basically adding this, like basically the slash. And what this is like at the root directory, this is where all my notes live. And this is the note we're going to start with. So we're basically going to open up this base note template. And so the base note template here, if we open that up, as we can see here, is basically a giant piece of JavaScript, ultimately. And so is it a little bit ugly? Yes, it's kind of, especially for whatever reason, it's not doing any code syntax highlighting. So let me go ahead and swap this over to VS Code real quick so that people can see this. And then let me switch. Oh, it actually did. It automatically detected JavaScript. So you see here, this looks a little bit better. Let me bump this up a little bit. And so ultimately what you see here is the ability to say, you know, like what everything is. And so, oh, Cassidy here in the chat. It's beautiful in its own way. Oh, that's very kind. I would say with the syntax highlighting, it looks better. It's in the current view of Obsidian like this, it just looks like a blob of white and yellow to me. But at least, so as we can see here, it's nice in that you can basically dedicate what workflows go to what kind of file. And so I won't go into the JavaScript part of it. I know that this may be a little bit daunting for those who may say, like, if you don't really know, if you don't really know JavaScript, right, you're not really a programmer. The nice thing about it is, and maybe I should honestly just create a blog post about this at some point, is there are basically some really common patterns that you're probably going to use that you can basically just copy the snippet to say that if you want to just have a single marker, like for example, all I hear, like this JavaScript piece here just says, does it include parentheses capital B book? Like, does it include that? If it does, then basically use the book template, right? And just that alone, right? If that's all, if you use nothing else, that'll automate, honestly, probably most of your workflow. It's only when you start to want to get really fancy with like, so this is like an example of a fancy one where I'm trying to check to make sure it's like a daily note. Actually, I'm not even sure why this one's in here. It's kind of funny because daily notes already get categorized somewhere. But here's an example of where I'm trying to test for a very specific format. And so this is what's testing like the regular expressions, which is also known as regex, up here in the top. And so you don't have to go that deep. You just, a lot of times you just need a marker to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And then over time, you might then need to solve additional problems. Like, so for example, actually, funny enough, Cassidy's in the chat. So as a lot of you know, when it comes to naming people, right, I tend to put an @ symbol in front of the person that I'm naming. So let's say that we're going to go ahead and, oh, I forgot I'm not in Obsidian. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and create a new person note for someone called like Mina, right? So Mina is going to get a new note, and I'm going to say Rosberg. All right, that's going to be their name. And then we're going to go ahead and open up in a new page. What you'll see is you get Mina's Rosberg is great, and then it's populated my people template. Now, part of the problem here is that you probably, like, some of you may be like, well, like, what if I want to, like, make this a little bit more, like, how do I say this? What if I don't want the @ symbol, right? At least showing up in the H1. This is a common thing, because otherwise it's really more for making it easy to query. And so what you can do, for example, which I'm going to go ahead and enhance right now inside of my people note, is, let's see, people person template. Here we go. So a couple of things. One, what I try to do in all my templates is that in the H1, I'll actually wrap this in my template, or I'll basically do the file title in here. And the reason I do that is because it allows us the ability to basically have it dynamically update, especially when things change. Now, at this point, though, what we want to do is have an alias. So what you could do is you could, for example, say, let's say I'm going to do an alias here, and then I'm going to do tp file.title.substring1. This should work. All right, so if this works the way I think it will, what's going to happen now is we're going to create Mina Smith this time. And let's create a new note. And then what we'll see here is that it automatically generates the correct alias for me. And the alias is actually being displayed inside of the link so that I don't actually have to see the @ symbol. And so even though the file has it up here, I don't have to deal with it there. And so this is one example where having like a little bit of JavaScript knowledge can be helpful. But what I would say to that is don't feel like you have to go out and learn a new programming language just to be able to do that. Instead, what I would actually recommend is just that when you have a specific problem like this, I mean, reach out. Honestly, like I said, if you leave a comment below with a specific scenario, I'd be more than happy to answer that and help point you with like the code snippet that will get you to where you want to go. So, okay, so that's been enhanced. Wonderful. Okay, and so that's basically it. The workflow for automating your templates boils down to creating a bunch of if-else conditions. And when it'll kick off a check that'll go through everything. And then at the very end, if nothing else gets hit, right? It's like, I couldn't find a match for anything. What are we going to return? Well, this is what I'm currently calling a starter note. And so the starter note will basically contain like a very bare bones example of like what is going to be inside of a note that you want to have like basically every single time. So that's basically it. If you have any other questions about this particular workflow, again, feel free to drop a comment. But otherwise, I hope this helps to clarify how we can automate that piece while still leveraging, again, all your past brain and all the notes that you used to have. This is the best way to do it, in my opinion. So, all right, with that, let's switch on over and let's get back to refreshing the boilerplate. Because, again, it's been a little while, and I'd like to see kind of what we need to do to make sure everything's updated. So what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to bump my personal vault right now to the left. There's my digital forest. Here is my boilerplate. And let's take a look at what's going on in here. First thing first, let's check everything for updates and let's update everything. All right, everything is updated. All right. Then I'm going to turn on the calendar, turn on editor syntax. This is good. Note refactor. I'm still a big fan of that. Sliding panes, I don't think I need to force. No, I don't. Well, actually, this is my opinionated boilerplate, so I should just let it happen. So here we go. We have all of these over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I rotate, because this is what I do. I rotate the headers. Rotate the headers once, rotate directions. There you go. Okay. So there we go. That way it gives you just a little bit more vertical space for reading. And then, okay, so we have this. This is no longer, the plugin that created this pane tag has gone away. That's sad. Okay, what else do we got? This has also gone away. Oh no, all this stuff just went bye-bye. Okay, that's fascinating. Okay, calendars here. Daily Notes plugin not enabled. Okay, that makes sense. So this is why this happened, because we need daily note. Periodic notes here, so we need to install that. That's definitely going to be needed. And in fact, I should probably just bring this up on the side to show what I've been using. Okay, periodic notes enabled it here. Perfect. Now the question is, let's see, buttons, calendar. Oh yeah, data view. So data view needs to be in here too. That is a must. And again, we'll find examples for everything in due time. Editor, syntax, highlight, file explorer, markdown titles. Not worried about that. Not worried about hot reload. Hotkey helper. That is actually pretty nice. Hotkey helper here, what it does, basically allows you to see everything so that like when you're looking at your plugin settings, it'll show you what the hotkeys are related to it, which is actually super nice. So an example here, we were talking about like, so if I was looking at templater, you'll see that all the oh wait, actually, what am I doing? When I go into templater down here and we're looking at stuff, you can actually see the hotkeys for the specific plugin. So it's a nice little, basically user experience thing. So I would totally recommend doing that. That's good. What else do we got as far as community plugins go? Bum, 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 bum. Sliding panes. This is good. Advanced tables. I'm not worried about tables right now. Kanban. Nope. Meta edit. Not really. Natural language dates. Not really. Note refactor. Yes. Periodic notes. That's fine. Plugin change logs. That's fine. Sliding panes. Tag Wrangler. Yes, that is a must actually. Tag Wrangler is a huge deal. It makes all the difference for being able to basically manage all of your tags, easily rename, regroup, refactor. It just makes life so much easier. Templater, text snippets. Okay, I actually think that's it. These are the core ones that I would say I could not live without. And I would start every single project with these, kind of no questions asked. The question I have though here is how now do I add different panes to, so let's see, let's open the calendar pane, open the view. Okay, here's the calendar pane. Okay, so now I can grab backlinks here and okay, here's sirens, hang on. Okay. All right, cool. We have a calendar back up. This is great. Let's see, let's resize this about this. This looks good. And then what else do we got? We need the tag wrangler actually. So where's my tag wrangler? Add tag. How do I get my tab pane back? Templater, open this week. Failed to find your weekly notes folder. Okay, those are things we're gonna have to configure. No question about it. Help, settings, open quick switcher, graph view, command palette, markdown importer. None of these is what I want. Where are my panes? All right, here's the app. Always enabled, core editor, file explorer, search, outgoing links. Yes, show outgoing, detect unlinked. Tag pane, here we go. And I just have to turn it on, I guess. Okay, tag pane there, note composer. Slash commands, I actually do want to turn that on. Not worried about templates. Oh, actually, this is kind of an interesting thing. What do I have turned on over here? Yep, I turned off daily notes and templates because we're using periodic notes to deal with that now, which is better. Start is actually cool. I'm good with that. Editor status. Okay, yep, that's fine. Wait. Add the status bar to show and change the current editor mode. Nope, we're gonna remove that. Zettelkasten prefixer, random note. That's interesting. Outline. Ooh, outline is great. That should be turned on. Slides. Yes, totally recommend having slides open in case anyone ever wants to do that. Workspaces are great. We're not gonna worry about publish. Not gonna worry about sync. Okay. So outline's great in that here. So if you didn't know, let me say this is my outline, more headings. Oh, is it not showing up? It usually does on this one, I believe. So if I just do like, let's do think again. I don't want the image, I want the book. Oh, why is there two different ones? I need to figure that out. Over here. Yeah, see, look, my outline shows up right here. Maybe I just need to like reboot it. And then open another vault. Let's go Ben's Obsidian Boilerplate. Okay, there you go. Now it's showing up. See, I had a feeling it was a caching thing. Excellent. Okay, so the outlines here, graphs here. I actually prefer, what is it? Link first, then links. Is that how I'm doing it? Oh, I remove the tag. Yep, I leave this left hand to be entirely like super long. I don't put anything on the bottom left. Okay, yep, that's my thing. Then there's a backlink here. There's a graph here. Then I'm going to move the tag down here, which is great. And then links. Yeah, these are the same things. So I can close that part. And yep, there you go. Then I can toggle between the calendar and the outline. That's good. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Now, the next thing though, we're going to set that up just like we did before. We're just going to make sure that in templater, we're going to go ahead. Okay, where is the folder is configured? It's inside of templates. That needs to be saved because a friend of mine recently tried to do this and it wasn't automatically configured. So syntax highlighting, yes. Oh, jump to cursor is disabled. That's why it's not working in there. Let's see if this works actually, because if that works, then I actually do want to keep this. So once again, Mina test. Open a new pane. Nothing happens because I don't even have my people template in here. Oh my gosh, so many things I need to change. Okay, great. So first thing first, we have our notes. Oh my gosh, so many things we need to update. All right, checking this out. Default view is editing view, live preview, correct. Readable line length, strict line breaks, show front matter. Yes, that's something I do. Oh, wait. This is in the reading mode. Take that back. Fold heading. Yes. Right to left. Round number. Okay. This is good. Tab size. I'm good. File links. Move to trash. I'm fine. New folders to create notes in. Oh. Well, I'm going to create notes inside of my notes folder. Ooh, that's not what I want. Okay. And then wiki links. Yes. Detect all file extensions. Yes, detect all that. That is good. Default, put everything in assets. That is correct. Appearance, that's fine. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Hotkeys, I think I disabled everything. Open new note. Create new note has been disabled. Excellent. Quick switcher has that, but I also want to configure the command N. This is good. I wish there was a better way to do this to like... Actually, there probably is like a settings I probably could do. But like I said, I don't want to include everything because a lot of times I am experimenting on my own vault. So anyhow. Okay, so that's that. The only thing, though, I'm trying to think is... Let's see. Daily Notes plugin not enabled. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But I have my Daily Notes plugin set up now. So where is Daily Notes? Periodic notes. Here you go. Periodic notes. Your existing notes has been migrated automatically. Sure. This is how the weekly notes look. That's fine with me. Weekly note template. Okay. Yep. Here we go. All right. Let's begin the migration. So templates wise, oh my God, I had such an opinion about this at one point. You know what? I'm just going to delete all of this. Blocks as well. This is probably a chance for me to go through and churn a lot of this too. All right, so page template. Yep. Weekly note page template. All right, so first thing first, let's grab all this and let's move it. I'm going to remove the folder hierarchy because I think that was ultimately a harmful decision. There's just way too much junk in here. So let's simplify a couple of things. First thing first is base note. Base note does not exist. That does exist. Okay. I'm going to ignore. We're going to just leave a few examples here because I don't want this to be overwhelming for people. Like, call it what you will with what I said earlier. But I would say that I want to give people an inspiration, but I don't want them to be totally overloaded. Focus note, tutoring session, not worried about that. Meetings, not worried about that. Start with. Okay, actually, the meeting note one is actually probably good to keep, but this means we'll need to clean those things up. And then otherwise, a people note. Oh, the people note already includes the starts with example, so I'm actually going to get rid of meeting. Book note, people note, project note. I'm not even going to worry about project notes either. All right, so this way people can feel a lot more comfortable sort of coming in and making changes. So this is good. I'm excited about this. But this means that now we basically only need a couple of templates. So I'm just going to delete that. Daily note page sent, that's fine. Focus session, gone. Funko Pop, gone. Generic meeting, gone. Tutoring session, gone. Meeting log, gone. Monthly note, actually we need that. Music lesson, gone. Gone. It just feels so nice to delete things, honestly. Starter note, task, gone. Weekly note. Okay, I think we've made a pretty succinct list now. Oh wait, we don't need app. Okay, base note is clean. The book here, we can go ahead actually, and we can leave this. And then once again, let's wrap this in a link so it automatically updates. Front matter is good. Notes, table of contents, sure. And then Cassidy, when you say, is there a way to make template or point to templates folder, you mean like only read templates from the templates folder? Or what do you mean by that? Okay, start date, assessment date. I think I need to clean up this. I think this whole thing is, I think this is confusing to people, honestly. I'm not even sure this level of abstraction is useful to people, if you ask me honestly. Yeah, I'm actually not sure that's very useful. Basically, so, as you're watching me work through this, the reason I had started to abstract some of the block templates was I was like trying to figure out how to consistently do the same label for everyone, and I was kind of tired of updating it everywhere. But I think in the instance of a boilerplate, that's kind of one level of abstraction too far. Okay, so Cassie's question here. Right now, when I do insert template, it asks me for a template name, but it filters through all my files instead of, oh, yes. So what Cassidy is asking about right now is, you'll notice that right now, when we look at this series of notes, if I do my insert template, right, you'll see that actually right now it's only pulling my templates. And the way you can tell is because I put a suffix at the end of everything. So all of this is template. However, I was actually with a friend doing this recently, so this is how I know. If this section is not configured just like that and it's empty, and then you go to insert your template, you'll notice that everything shows up. Obviously, this is not that overwhelming right now because this is just the boilerplate, but that's the reason that's happening. So you just got to come in here and make sure you define the template, which for the boilerplate, that'll be done for you. But in the event you're playing around with it yourself, and Cassidy in here. Oh, duh. No, you say, but I mean, in your defense, and then for anyone who didn't know this, the configuration was done a little bit differently before Templater had a major update. So I think this is one of the reasons the functionality reverted for people. Because I believe in the past, you actually had to define the photo. If you had to define a folder up front. Anyhow, it has changed since then. That said, though, to Cassidy's point, having a suffix, though, that says like template, I actually still think is useful because otherwise, right, like if you have some, like for example, even this book. So actually, I'm actually going to go ahead and update it to my new philosophy. Having the parentheses template or whatever signifier you prefer, I think it's nice because otherwise you technically have a note, like every time, like in the future when you're opening your, like just doing your quick switcher and you're typing book, you're going to see just book. And then you're going to have to like, don't get me wrong. Like, okay, let me just demonstrate this straight up. Let me just eliminate that's the only thing that thing does to me, kind of messes up my direction. Okay. So now it's called book, right? If you're going to create a new note called book, and then let me just do shift create book. Wait, what? Did it do it? It did not do it. Quick note, book note. All right, let me do this. Let me delete said thing here. Okay, good. Book was created here. Book was created here. I guess you could, I lose out a little bit on this now. I think it changed. Book template. Okay, so oh yeah, I always have to kind of relearn these things a little bit. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, well, if I search for book, you'll see that it very clearly designates what folder it's coming from, whether it's notes or templates. And probably you could say that's enough of a distinguishing factor. But at least as of right now, Obsidian does not have the ability to do like basically two-directional searching. So in other words, if you're like, oh, I want to modify my book template because that's how your brain works, you'll notice that your book template disappeared because it doesn't technically exist as far as it's concerned. It's searching forward, right? It already looked up book. Now, if we did template book, That's better. You see that? You see the bold? It matched the front and the back, but it didn't do it the other way. So for me, I just think it just helps a little bit, especially with at least the way my brain works, to have it called book template. And that way, I get kind of like double reinforcement, but then if I type the book template, it automatically shows up. So I think the signifier is still helpful in this regard. So, and to be honest, and so to explain my rationale too, because part of the reason I'm recording this and sharing this with you all rather than just doing this by myself is because I think as you're tailoring your own vault to yourself, I'm just trying to explain where my line of thinking was at some point, and hopefully that helps you. And so basically you'll see here this artifact that I have in the past of like categorizing different types of templates, because I had like, it was from sort of my experience as a web developer of like different types of components, basically of like small pieces that are inline versus bigger pieces that are full pages. And I was trying to figure out a way, if there's a good way to manage that. And the truth is it's just become more administrative work than anything else, honestly. And so in general, I don't totally recommend it. The reason why I was also doing this page thing was because I was like, well, what if I have a book snippet that's like a lot smaller? Like I have a metadata that's like a book like this, and I wanted to be able to say that. What would I call that then? And then honestly, in that case, I think there are better ways to handle that rather than having all these folders and stuff. So we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. So there we go, base note template. The only thing I need to check though is that did I break it in here? Because I don't think, if we go inside the folder, here we go, templater. Oh yeah, good. Then now I can do my base note here. Now we've configured that so everyone has it, which is great. Okay, that's good. And then, oh, you can even move. Okay, well, let's see. People, I don't have a people page template. Oh, this is not good. All right, let's open the people page template and let's copy this over. Okay, so let's keep this simple. We're not gonna worry about, we're just type people, not even gonna worry about all this metadata. So I wanna keep things simple for people as far as what notes they have, maybe little reminders about that person. This is good. And so this here, again, is going to be a people person template. That's what we're going to call it. And then we're going to go ahead and move this to the templates folder, people person template. And then finally, if we go into the base note, we'll see here that the people person, as long as it starts with the @ symbol, we'll move it into, okay, this is going to be part of it. I actually am going to say, I wonder, I used to have it under, as you can see in my notes, people, but people are such a specific category for me personally that I'm not sure I ever want those notes to be shared, if you ask me honestly. So if I'm going to do this, I think I really just want a whole folder for people, because managing relationships is really important to me. And especially if we're talking about like making things public, my people notes are never going to be public as far as I can forecast. So I'm going to say it's going to move to here. And then this way we can do this people person template. And yeah, Cassidy here, I have a humans folder too. Perfect. Okay. So let's check to make sure this works though. So once again, let's do our Mina Jacob. Mina Jacob was created. As you can see, populated the template, which is good. And Mina Jacob was put inside of the folder. Okay, that was great. That was exactly what we wanted. So inside of this base note, this is good. The only thing though now is I need to actually update my front matter, because I have since come to the conclusion that I'd like to simplify my front matter for the most part. And so I actually have it in this order. This is actually what I generally recommend. And actually, I guess I'll explain why real quick. This was the old version where you had like an object of dates that you would theoretically track for a note. And the truth is there's really only 2 dates I would say that are actually really relevant for most notes. And to be honest, last modified doesn't even get updated for most people a lot of the time. So knowing when it was created and knowing when it was last modified, or in this case, I think I ended up shortening it to one word. When it was created, when it was updated. These are the only 2 dates that ultimately matter. So because of that, they basically are static pieces, just like the UUID. And because of that, the alias is really the only thing you often tend to update. So that goes at the very bottom. So it's very easy to skim, very easy to modify. So that's why I've ordered it like this. It makes the front matter a lot cleaner, which you can see here now. So if we looked at actually even Mina test, actually, do I even have an example of book? Hello world? Nope, I don't have any. Okay, that's fine. But then you can see though, if I do Mina Jacob this time and create the new note, you see this is just really clean right here. And then the other thing though, now I'm realizing the people person template, I actually want to go one step further with the aliases. So I'm actually not even gonna track that like that. I'm actually gonna do it like this. I'm just gonna drop this in manually, because what I think would be great is similar to what was sort of mentioned earlier. Sometimes we don't want our name to be referred to as an @ symbol. So it would be nice if we could automatically see that as an alias. So in other words here, like right now, without any alias, if we go into a new note like hello world, and I'm like, oh, I want to tag Mina, you'll see that Mina is always going to have an @ symbol next to it. And then I have to like go in here and manually be like Mina test. And then Mina test will show up correctly. So I would argue then that inside of your people note, you probably need two different things. One, you want to get rid of the @ symbol so you can just show it correctly. And then arguably, I would say you want to be able to also just refer to them by their first name. And I'm going to make a huge assumption here is that most people creating their human notes or their people notes will always have a space between the first and last name. If this is not the case, feel free to tailor this logic to yours. But I would say it would probably make sense to split it by the space and then only take the first value. So this is a bit of a gamble here. And let me see if this works the way I think it will. If it does, then this means that we can create a Mina Jacob like this, open it up, and then you can see here, cool, we have two different aliases, Mina Jacob, Mina. Oh, this part sort of worked. Not really, but we'll see why in a second. Oh, I know why. Anyhow, so if I go to hello world and open that up, now when we go ahead to tag Mina, we'll see that there should be, is it the reason I think it is? I think it's because none of these are wrapped in strings. But, okay, if that's the case, wrapped Mina, there you go. See that? Mina Jacob, Mina. Okay, so you have all these aliases. This is great. So really what I need to do is one, I need to wrap these in strings so that it automatically is populated correctly in the front matter YAML template. But more importantly, I think I need to substring one. Basically, I need to split off the @ symbol, and then after that split. So let's just make sure this works the way intended. So I can see that Mina Jacob here. There we go. We have Mina Jacob. And again, I have weird things as far as like order goes. So I'd probably prefer the shorter thing to be up top. So let's delete this once more to check it out. Mina Jacob like this. There you go. Now you can refer to Mina or Mina Jacob without the @ symbol. It still works, but your file name still has the easy @ symbol, so that you can easily refer to things. So that way in the future, if you're like, oh, I'm going to look for Mina, you can see, boom, easy enough. So, oh, I see Hung Soo here in the chat. Hello, hello. Let's see, my notes about my friends and pets are in people. And don't forget, you can use alias rather than aliases for multiple aliases. Wait. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, great. So to Hung Soo's point here, what I believe he's referring to is that you can actually make this aliases up top so that it's very clear that you're doing more than one. But it does look like they're basically synonymous and the program is interpreting it the same way either way. So I think I'm debating. It is more accurate to do that. But anyways, okay, I'll leave it as alias for now. We won't get into the semantics of this. But this people note is looking much cleaner, and I'm actually pretty darn happy with it. So actually, I'm not even going to categorize that. That's just, yeah, this is type people. And so people can add to their metadata down here. All right, pretty happy with this people template. And then actually, I'll remove the person template. I think that was just a brain thing I had. I sometimes called it people, sometimes I called it person. But I think most people would be okay calling it people. Okay, what else do we got? We have the people, and then let's take a look at base note again. We have the book template, which I think we basically, oh right, I said I wanted to simplify this. So you probably want to like be able to rate the book. I think that's worth showing as inspiration, and then maybe you want to like track the author. So maybe the authors are something you want to track, and then this is probably good inspiration. Who recommended the book? I think that's always great. We can delete all that. Not going to worry about any of this stuff. The genre, again, I think that's a little bit overkill as well. So type attribute. So that basically we can see inside of, I just used this as type, like the folder emoji. So inside of my book, here we go. This is a type. This is going to be type book. And then this way, this is like a clean little bit of inspiration for your footer, which basically gets at the key things that you want for probably when you're talking about a book. Oh, hello, Nunji. How's it going? So let's see. Is there a way to have links in YAML? It always says invalid YAML when I put in a link. Yeah, Nunji. So this is actually precisely the reason why I have a back matter to my Obsidian notes, because front matter is limited right now in terms of its ability to reference things. And a big part of Obsidian is about being able to link your thoughts, link your ideas. And as a result, a lot of these properties that theoretically could be put up top as part of like the front matter data, basically you can't link it up there properly. And as a result, because you can't link it up there properly, then I put it all but down here so that it updates and the relational database basically updates correctly. So, and to Hangsu's point as well, the nice thing about when you do stuff down here inside of this with this double colon syntax, it allows you to basically, it creates front matter like properties so that you can refer to it later programmatically, especially if you're a developer and it does seem like data view is becoming the standard for how to query things within Obsidian. So I'm really excited to see more adoption around that, because this means that hopefully we'll see more of a solidification around the standards around how data is queried, which means we'll get a lot more rich basically data query. So thank you. Yeah, big thanks to Hangsu for the assist there. And okay, so we see Ryzen here in the chat. Let's see. Oh, thanks so much for coming to my talk on the Daily Dev. For those that don't know, I gave a talk on the 5 tips for creating a successful career in tech. And so that I can go ahead and link that in the show notes and stuff. But basically, yeah, so that's the talk that Ryzen is referring to. So I'm glad that you enjoyed the talk. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and letting me know how giving me your feedback. Okay, so how are we doing? Okay, so we got this. We got the book template. This is honestly a good chunk of it. I actually don't think I want this to get more complicated. Oh, this is complicated. Okay, so I need to simplify the daily note, actually. The daily note really only needs these fields. There are a bunch of different aliases that I've started to create for daily notes, which I'll explain momentarily. And then this here needs to be this, but then tp.file.title. And I'll show you what all of this means. I don't like the web quote. And then this system only makes sense if you're following a very prescriptive way of managing time. There we go. This gives you like a general segment. Okay. So to make sure this even works, actually, I'm deleting all this. I'm actually not even sure that's useful anymore. It tells you what week it's part of. That's great. Start time, end time, that's not useful. And then we called it miscellaneous, but funny enough, it's not miscellaneous. We really should just call it additional metadata. So that's what it is down here. And then down here, timeline, daily, okay. I'm actually just gonna make this daily. I think there's a reason I call it timeline daily, actually. Timeline daily status, and probably not even worried about the status. Okay, this is the simplest it gets. If this works the way I think it will, which it probably won't, because I think I didn't configure something. If we try to open up today's note for the 27th and we create it, it's broken. Yeah, that makes sense. Because periodic note, I think, is pointing to the wrong place. So the notes folder, where would the weekly notes be posted? Ah, okay. So I created a separate note for reports so that it's easy. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to call it timeline. That's what I was referring to anyways. That's because that ultimately, oh, I know why I didn't do that. Oh, it's fine. All right, it's called timeline because you have basically daily notes, weekly notes, monthly notes, etc. So inside of here, the weekly notes here, again, templates, weekly note page template, and the folders will be timeline, weekly notes. This is good. Then we also, we have quarterly. Oh, this is great. Okay, so there's even more stuff in here, which I'm not gonna worry about. Okay, we definitely want daily notes. This is good. Daily note template. Here we go. And then this will go into daily notes. Okay, cool. Let's try this now. So let's delete this file. Let's open it up. Yes, this was created. Look, okay, look, it's beautiful. So what I did earlier, which you saw like all the snippets, is that rather than having you see the ISO date, which is, again, kind of, it's not the easiest to parse. You can just have this pretty January 27th, 2022, but it's still reflective of whatever's up here. So that's nice. Automatically linked. January 27th, as here as an alias. Also, Why did I do it like this? Oh, I did Thursday, right? In case I wanted to refer to a specific day. So I want to be like Thursday, the January of what? I can now actually do that. So that's why that snippet is there. So that's very good. Okay, that's good. You can see week 5 has been created, which is awesome. So basically it creates that link. And so now what's nice about this is if you actually open up your weekly note for week 5, I click to create. Does not like, because my page template doesn't exist. Weekly note page template. Yep, this is it. Okay. So why are you complaining? Templates, weekly notes, page template. Yep. So if I create this, create. Okay, that was good. I wonder why I didn't like it earlier. But the nice thing about this now is you'll see in all the link mentions, 2022 week 5. What did I do for? Oh, I know. Wait, nope. tp.file.title format YYY week 05. This is correct. I thought for a second I had the wrong year. Nope, that's the right year. Oh, wait a second. Because it's... Oh, is this why I did that? All right, whatever. Delete current file. I think I know why now. Weekly notes. Okay. So clearly it was automatic. So this... Okay. Oh, I think that's why I had the daily note thing. So it would automatically move it. But again, that's not worth coding in at this point. That's honestly, it's just way too much work. So inside of here now when I click on this, there we go. And now you can see it mentions all the daily notes. And so okay, so this is good. If this works the way I think it will. Okay, let me now modify the weekly note. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's change this. Let's wipe this out. We don't need this anymore. This is coming all the way down. And then instead of last modified, I'm just doing when it was last updated, just for a little bit more brevity. Once again, we can do it like this. I can probably make it look a little bit cleaner actually, rather than just 2022 week 5, but that's not the point. All right, we're not going to worry about tasks for the week. We're not going to worry about, actually, you know what? Tasks is fine. So we can just give some inspiration here for this. Determine what outcomes are relevant for this week. That's important. Okay, then we don't worry about projects. We don't worry about upcoming. Don't worry about outcomes. This is all nothing. Notes is good to have. This is like reflections. So I don't mind leaving that for people. All right, here we go. The daily notes. This is what should be working, but it's not. And the reason is because we have, all right, I just want a list. I'm not even going to worry about it. Type daily where week is equal to this. Oh, yes. Okay. TP date dot now. Y. That should do it. No, doesn't like it. Where week is equal. Oh, wait. This is the page template. Of course. So we go back to the page template here and we delete this file, recreate the file. It's parsing because something broke. That's fine. We'll figure out what broke. I think it's probably in here, something I wrote. So it did not like what was in here in tp.date.now. Oh, silly me. I never closed it. So now I'm in here. Now I can replace all the templates in the active file. That's been occurring a lot more than I would like. Okay, just like that. There we go. Much better. Okay. So that's that. But something was funny though. Why did it only return that? Tags plural. I see singular. Oh, yeah. Shoot. I gotta fix that. All right, hold up. Delete file weekly note. Inside of here, again, we're going to say what week it was. That's fine. Then we're going to eventually, we have the type. It's a weekly timeline. We're not going to worry about that. Type date now, week, what number week it is, which is fine. But my problem is here in that TP date now. This, close that. And then this here is TP date now week. Okay, this should work now. So now if we go ahead and come in here and look at week 5, that updates correctly. This updates correctly too. Okay, perfect. So now our weekly note is working as expected. So once again, let's go ahead and delete this file. We don't, whoa, what did I do? Okay, delete current file. We don't need this daily note anymore. Delete current file. This is good. And then, yeah, I think we're coming up on time But I'm going to go ahead and let's keep going. Starter note here. Once again, I have the type here saved. Excellent. So all it is type note. This is our simple one. File cursor. We're eliminating. Actually, I want to test this actually real quick. Wrap this here. So then again, test note should automatically. Wait, what? Test note. Experiment. There you go. Jump to the cursor. Okay, jumping the cursor did work in that instance. Everything updated as expected. This is good. Okay, so that is good to go now. That's our starter note. Page monthly note. All right, this is a bunch of stuff. Actually, you know what? We're not even going to worry about monthly notes because I think most people don't really need that starting out. So daily note's good. We've accepted that. And then more importantly, I got to make sure real quick that the periodic notes, you see how it doesn't, this is what I don't like. Sometimes it does track the reactivity. It'll tell you like when the page is updated, but this becomes like stringified so that it basically doesn't have that reference anymore. Okay, now this is all good. Excellent. Okay, books, that. We're not going to worry about snippets. We're not going to worry about sections. And more importantly, okay, actually, some of these could be interesting. The one I will actually leave is last modified. This little bit of snippet is kind of hard to track down sometimes. So I think this is useful because basically, again, not ideal at all. And I know there are other plugins that's trying to solve this right now, but I just haven't seen it done in a really clean way that I like. So once again, if I go ahead and take a look, and let's just add my people template here. And again, I make a modification, and then inside of here, I want to update the last updated. Now I can just be like last modified date, and then it'll, as you can see, it updates the timestamp. So last modified, for those who kind of want to have it, this is probably useful to have, so I'll just leave that alone. But other than that, I'm actually just going to kick everything else out. So that cleans that up a lot. And then, yep, I think that basically does it. So we can delete this, delete all of this. Hello, Obsidian. Assets, prompt, preferences. Oh, I think I referred to it. Okay, yeah, I referred to it in the README. I think that's how that happened. Books, dashboard. Oh, dashboards are a whole thing. I'm not even going to worry about it. Okay, this is good. Yep. All right. I think that's it. I think we've successfully revamped the Obsidian Boilerplate, which I'm excited for because this means that now people, when they start, can basically get the latest. And more importantly, they get a more streamlined way of working with Obsidian. So with that, I think let's go ahead and wow, so many things changed. All right. Git, add, commit, feature, update, boilerplate with key plugins and streamlined templates. All right. Cool. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and switch on back over to the camera. Boom. Well, so today a bit more of a working session, but obviously getting to relook at how I've been doing Obsidian, more importantly, the update on ideas that I've had over time as far as managing templates and more importantly, like the different workflows. Again, I can't stress enough, a lot of this when working with Obsidian is just about logging time. And again, not in a way that's tedious, just in a way that solves a problem for you. So over time, like for example, the boilerplate probably does need some sort of dashboard to just show an example of like how you query things together and that kind of stuff. But I think for the most part, the boilerplate is in a I'm actually pretty happy with where it is now, because at one point it was, as we could see at the beginning, a little bit out of date. So that said, that is a wrap for today. So as always, any resources that we talked about today, I'll try to make sure to include in the show notes below. So if I miss anything or if you have any additional questions, as always, please feel free to drop a comment below. But otherwise, it's been a blast hanging out with everyone. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye, everybody.